You got that number next to your name. Very successful return to the UFC. Is it working out like you envisioned, or are you exceeding the expectations you had before entering your second run?
Well, I tell you what, man, the second run's been really nice to me. It's went really well. I've worked really hard for this, but I've always pictured this. I've always pictured myself in the position I'm in right now. It just took a little time to get there, and experience is everything, man. I had to go through the trials and tribulations for a long time to finally get to where I'm at, but I'm here now, and I'm enjoying every second of it.
You got Un Jung. He's probably one of the best young prospects in the division. What is your breakdown of him?
Yeah, you said it, man. I think he's a really good fighter. I think he's a really good prospect. He's surging, as am I. And yeah, he's a little bit younger. He's got the Korean background, got the Korean nation behind him. So I think the UFC is really wanting to push him a little bit, and rightfully so, man. The guy's 15-2, 4-0-1 in the UFC. He's a very tough challenge, but like I said, I'm in the top 15, and I got to defend my spot, man. That's how I look at this fight. I know he's a very worthy opponent, and I look at it as defending my place in the rankings.
Every country they have like a reputation, like they all kind of people put them in a box. Like Korean fighters are known for this or Russian fighters are known for that. What are Korean fighters known for, do you think?
That's a really good question because he's a very unique Korean. He's a big guy for one. He's a real big guy, and he's got a lot of power. He's a strong boxer wrestler type. I think this would be my toughest opponent to date. I'm not overlooking him at all, but Korean guys, I think they're just known for the fighting spirit. They fight with a lot of heart and just the warrior spirit, man. And I know it's going to be a good fight with him, and I know he's going to bring out the best in me.
We've seen Jung implement, many different types of game plans against opponents. What does that say about him and his skill set?
Yeah, I think Jung has a very wide variety of skills, and he's very skillful. I think he's a tough competitor. He can mix it up and do a lot of different things, and I'm definitely not overlooking him at all. It's going to be a tough fight, and I'm in it for the long haul, man. I just see myself getting my hands raised.
The Sam Alvey fight really sticks out, in people's eyes because a lot of people thought he lost that fight. What was your assessment of what happened in that fight?
Well, yeah, that definitely sticks out to me too because Sam Alvey's a guy. If you're a younger fighter like Jung was when he fought him, you could easily overlook that guy. And I could see myself. I'm fighting Sam Alvey. There's no way I'm losing that fight. I think it'd be a walk in the park. But he's a guy that brings it, man. He's very durable, and he's never out of the fight. And he's so awkward and almost. I don't mean any disrespect, kind of so bad he's good, I mean, he just throws people off, and I think maybe Jung was overlooking him a little bit and realized that Alvey is where he is because of who he is. He's a very tough competitor, and he had Jung had him on the ropes and was going after him, trying to attack him. Alvey was kind of counter fighting, staying back and slipping and catching him. So I think it was just a case of maybe Jung was overlooking him a little bit, and you can't do that in this sport, man. You can't overlook anybody. So that fight does stick out, and it makes me think like, man, I should beat this guy easy if he's going to a draw with Alvey. But I know better. I'm a veteran. I've been in here long enough to know that you can't overlook anybody, and everybody in the UFC is a tough fight.
Yeah, and if that was the case, if he was overlooking Sam, man, he got out on the good side of that. You know what I mean? Like getting a draw is better
Oh,
than taking it down.
yeah, for sure, man. I agree. Yeah, he kind of lucked out and didn't get the L on the record, which is a big thing. But yeah, it was a great fight. It was a tough fight, and you can't overlook anybody in the UFC, man.
And your last fight, man, you took on this striker. He's a very tricky striker, very different like angles, different, awkward angles, but he also has a lot of power, man. How did you feel about how you handled him and how you executed your game plan against him?
Yeah, I thought, well, for one, I went in there 5 weeks before that fight for the first time ever in my career. I actually contemplating having to pull out. I had an injury to my foot that didn't allow me to train properly. It didn't allow me to certainly use my kicks in the fight. I wasn't able to run. Wasn't able to prepare the way I usually prepare. and I went in there and I was able to get a win. And funny thing is that opponent is now fighting Sam Alvey in his next fight, so it'll be interesting to see how that fight goes. But yeah, I was proud of myself for sticking it out. It was a gutsy performance, a gritty performance, and I thought I was down after round one, and not by much, but I thought that it could have slightly been in his favor, and I just needed to pick it up in the second round, which is what I did. I caught him early in that second round, and then I blew my wad trying to finish him. And that third round was just all about heart, man, going out there and proving to myself that when the going gets tough, I can get going and get tough with it. And that's what I did, man. And I was super proud of myself for getting that victory. It was a unanimous decision victory. And here I am going into this fight with a full camp. I'm healthy. I'm lean. Cardio is great. So I'm excited to go out there and put on a great performance.
You've had a couple times during this run where you had to dig deep, right? And I think that's gonna be helpful for you when you get into that top 10, top five. We just saw
Yeah.
Yuri and Glover go into a
Oh
crazy
man.
fight.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I've said it before, I'll say it again, man. It takes a guy that's lost, that's been drugged through the mud, that's hit rock bottom, to fully understand and know what it takes to dig deep and get that win when the going gets tough. And I think that's been my career, man. Like I said, when I say I've been through it to get to it, I just don't say that. I truly mean it. I've been in there. I've gutted out some wins, and I've had to dig deep, man. And I feel like the experience is what has led me to where I'm at right now. And there's no doubt in my mind that I'm gonna go in there and give it my all. And I definitely see my hands getting raised. I just don't see myself losing, man. I've been there before. I don't want to be there again. And not saying it's not going to be every dog has their day and nobody's invincible. You've been down at the bottom. It gives you that extra boost to know what it takes to get your hands raised.
You're 5-0 with the draw, 6-0. It's much better. It looks much better on the screen, so to say. Does that decision bother you still against Kutalabe?
It doesn't really bother me because again, this is one thing that it's the people don't understand it unless you're the person going through it. But when I was in glory, I had 4 losses in a row, and 4 of those fights lost. And in my head, I'm like, man, I didn't lose that fight. I know I didn't lose that fight. So when you're looking on the outside and you're looking at the record, you're like, man, this guy's lost, or he did this or that. Unless you're the one going through it, you can't fully understand it and comprehend it. And so that fight with Kunt Laba, in my mind, I didn't lose that fight. I know it's a draw. I know it's a little blemish on the record, but I thought that I thought that it was certainly a tough fight. I was down after round one, but I thought the duration of the fight, I came back in 1 second, the second and third round, and even at the end of the third round, man, I could see it in his eyes that if we had another round, I was going to keep going. He looked like he was done. So those are little wins that I take away from that experience and that I carry on my shoulder and on my back, and I just remember that going into the next fight.
For sure. In the next fight, of course, you're at Factory X with Mark Montoya. Any new faces in the gym? I heard that you guys got an Australian out there
We
working.
do, man. We got Rob Wilkinson. He's the number one ranked PFL light heavyweight right now, going into their postseason tournament. For the $1 million, and that guy's a beast, man. He's 15 or 16-2. He had 2 losses in the UFC, and one was to Adesanya's debut. He fought a lot of his career at 185. He fights at 205 right now. I think he's way better at 205. I think he's way more suited for 205. A big, strong, durable guy, and he's been a great addition to the team because he's a true 205er. He's a guy that being able to feel his strength every day, have him coming at you. It makes me not scared of anybody. Kind of the same way with Cody. Cody's so good at wrestling, such a strong wrestler that when I train with him every day and I feel that, I'm not worried going into the fight. So Rob's been a great addition to the team. I'm really pulling for him, hoping he goes out there and wins that million. And I think, just feeling his presence every day, training with him is going to help me get through this next battle with Jung.
For sure. And, when you have teammates that have fights, they're in training camp while you're in training camp, compared to, like, say, when nobody has fights, describe the intensity of the room.
Yeah, man, everybody's fired up. Everybody brings it every day, and we're all ultimately working on that same prize, man. We all have our eyes on the prize. We're just trying to make it to the top and trying to better our lives and our families' lives, And it's cool, man. We got a saying, iron sharpens iron, and that's what we do every day, man. We just got iron on iron, and it's tough, man. These practices have been tough. Cody's had one hell of a camp, and I think he's going to go out there and really do great tomorrow night. And like I said, Rob's been a great addition. He's been out there, and then the momentum too, and just the confidence. Like you see your teammates going out there and winning fights in dominant fashion. You're like, hell yeah, man. It makes me proud to know that I helped them do that. And then also it makes me want to step my game up and go out there and get a big finish myself. And of course, get a big win for the team and just keep the momentum going.
The last 5 years or so, you guys have, you know, had so much success at Factory X. How is it riding that wave, you know, what I mean, of success with all your teammates from flyweight to heavyweight?
Yeah, it's super cool, man. To just be in the gym and train around guys like Brandon Royval and Yusuf Zalah and Chris Gutierrez and Pedro Martinez, man, guys that just go in there and get it done, man. And it's just we all inspire each other. We all just build off of each other and we pick each other up when we're down. You know, there's days that some guys aren't feeling the best and some guys are feeling really good. And you just try to keep that same energy, man. We say no energy vampires in the gym. You know, if you're having a bad day, you know, leave that stuff at home. Come in with a positive attitude and get your mind right, man. Because we're gonna grind, we're gonna get better, and it's a great culture, great team that we have at Factory X, and you know, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
July 16th, UFC Long Island. Jung, he's on a run. You're on a run. How do you expect to end his win streak?
You know, like I said, man, it's going to be a tough fight. Jung's a tough fighter. I love his fighter spirit. I love his warrior mentality. But no doubt about it, man. I see my hands getting raised. I don't see it being easy by any means. I think this is one of my toughest fights to date. And, you know, I see myself, I got to defend that spot in the top 15 because I know Jung's a guy, win, lose, or draw. You know, even when loses this fight, he's still going to be up there, man. He's young, and I know and maybe I see him again after, but we got to go in there and get this job done right now. And like I said, I fully see myself getting my hands raised and continue climbing the ladder towards the top of the division.
Now, you know, you're a contender in the division. Yuri Prohaska, he's the champ now. Glover is calling for a rematch. Blahovic, he wants the title fight in Europe. What is your take on who would be next in line?
Well, honestly, I think Glover should get a rematch. I think it was a great fight. I think that you know he had that fight won outside of a couple rookie mistakes that I thought he made. You know, going for takedowns when I didn't think he needed to, and you know going for that guillotine choke at the end of the fight. I didn't think he needed to. He had him hurt. You know, he had him wobbled. He had the fight won. So you know, it sucks to see him lose like that, and I'm sure he's feeling it and is not too happy about the way it went down. But you know, there's some guys. You know, Rakic has been out. I know he's a guy that's an absolute killer. I could see him definitely contending for the championship or even becoming champion. You know, the champ right now, he's no easy out. I think he's like a Tony Ferguson at 205. You know, he's so wild and sporadic and good everywhere and just so unorthodox. You don't know what's coming. You got Ankalaev, which is an absolute monster. My buddies, Cody said he saw him over at the PI, and you know, said that guy's like 240 pounds and jacked, and you know, he's fighting a teammate of mine, Anthony Smith, that um, you know, the division is stacked at the top, and there's a lot of killers, man, that could give the title a good run. So I'm looking forward to it, man. There's no easy fight, but the thing I love about 205 too is there's not really a guy that's going to go in there and just try to wrestle you and beat you a boring way. Like everybody's going in trying to finish you. You know, they're throwing bombs and they're trying to take you out one way or the other. So that's exciting for me. I like that. You know, a lot of guys going toe to toe, and it's going to be a fun division to compete in here the next few years.
Yeah, that's without a doubt, man. You're right, man. It's all exciting matchups. All right, man. July 16th, UFC Long Island. Dustin, always good. Always good
Eh,
chatting with you, man, and breaking your brain or picking your brain.
Yeah, for sure, man. It really is. I enjoy talking with you anytime that they give me the lineup and say you're one of them. I look forward to it, man. So I appreciate the time. I appreciate the exposure, and let's go out there and get a big win next Saturday, man.